Have you ever been called a complainer?
Maybe not like to my face, but I'm sure I've been called a complainer to my back a couple times.
Yeah. I think, at least for me, a lot of times people confuse the fact that I just want better as complaining. We'll unpack that in a little bit, but yeah.
So not complaining, but just like...
Not complaining, just want better. Like, I'm
Okay.
appreciative of what we have, but I think it could still be a little bit better. Some people get really upset by that. We'll talk about it here on the Let's Quit podcast. Welcome to the Let's Quit podcast.
Quitting is not always a bad thing.
If you have the right mindset, quitting can be the most powerful tool you have on your journey to success. It's certainly been helpful for us.
Whether it's flying through hurricanes, building our businesses, or just trying to get to bed on time, we're always trying to level up and improve our lives.
This is the show where we share the lessons, experiences, and friends that have helped us live this incredible life. So let's quit the bad and grow the good together. All right, welcome back to the Let's Quit podcast. It is episode number 040.
040. For a second, I was like, is he really going to say that backwards right now?
Yep, 0440. Yep.
0440. No. That means we're close to episode 50.
I know.
Like we literally just did episode 25.
It's crazy. I think we're coming up on a year.
Really? Already?
Because we skipped maybe 3 or 4 weeks this year
Yeah.
total, and so we're coming up on a year, I guess.
Wow.
And
That's nuts.
The next month or two, I guess.
Okay. Now I have to go back and look at dates.
I know.
That's really cool.
I know. So
Well, thanks for sticking with us for an entire almost year.
yeah, it's been great. So let's just jump right in. Weekly update.
Yes.
I see you're wearing a nice new Buckys shirt.
I am. This is my new one. If you guys watched the video,
A couple weeks ago.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago, Davis got me this new Bucky's shirt. It's really cool. It looks like a camping themed, and on the back it says, "Not all who wander are lost. Some are looking for Bucky's." I like it. I appreciate
It's really funny. Yeah, if you don't know, Bucky's is a gas station convenience store chain in Texas.
And since it's Texas
And they're
based, of course,
expanding.
it's massive. The stores are massive.
Yeah, there's a couple in Florida. There's one in Alabama. There's another one in Mississippi they're building right now. So they're expanding. It's pretty great.
Yep.
They've just so basically it's a story in marketing and branding.
Yes.
They take other products that already exist, snacks and candies and all sorts of other things. They put their own branding on it. They purchase them as white label products from these companies, and they put their own packaging, labeling, and this little beaver mascot they have all over it. Jack up the price and make millions.
Yep.
They also have like 200 gas pumps at like every location, so it's just an enormous gas station.
Huge bathrooms. Ton of bathrooms.
Yeah, squeaky clean bathrooms. They do a really good job of signage on the way. So like when you're on a road trip, it's like you stop for gas when you need gas.
Mm-hmm.
You just kind of take the next available one. Maybe you got a favorite. Maybe you got a Flying J or a Pilot or whatever your favorite chain is. You just stop next time you see one. Well, Bucky's, they strategically place billboards along the interstate saying like, you can hold it like 53 miles. So like you can make it to our gas station, and they just sort of hype it up. They've done a really good job of advertising, marketing, and branding.
Yeah.
And it's a huge success story. It's just two brothers that started a gas station chain. They don't do anything that special. I mean, they've got a bakery and they do barbecue and stuff.
they do have good quality food. So like the food that they do bring in and like the sweets that they bring in, like it's quality stuff. I don't know.
Right.
It's really tasty.
But they started, I found this out from a buddy of mine the other day. They started on the Texas coast. They started with ice. They would sell 10-pound bags of ice for 99 cents, which most of the time bag of ice is what, $2, $3, $4 sometimes. And they would sell it for 99 cents. That was their loss leader. All the fishermen in the Gulf would go to the Bucky's to buy all the ice. And then, oh yeah, we'll get snacks for the day and food and everything. And they just kind of exploded from there. Anyway, that's sort of how they got started. And that's the little beaver guy that you see me wear on like all my shirts in the shop and stuff. Because I got a couple just from driving through Texas when we were still in North Dakota. And then I just used to wear those in the shop because they're sort of like, I don't know, they're not junky t-shirts, but they're just like...
kind of a thin cotton,
they're like a graphic
t-shirt.
tee, right? So like you're not going to wear them out to dinner somewhere in a nice place. But they've just sort of been my go-to shop shirt. And now I wear them almost every day. So,
Yes.
And we always stop at one when we get the chance.
Yep. Whenever we can.
My shirt, so the same time I bought Jennie's shirt, I bought one for me. and it's too small. They've changed shirt manufacturers, and the sizing is different. And I got a
That tells
medium.
you how much we go to Bucky's. We can tell when they switch up their shirt manufacturers.
Yeah. Well, the shirt I got was a medium, but it was cutting me under the armpit. I got kind of wide shoulders. I'm not that fat, but like I got wide shoulders, so I need a large now.
So now it's mine.
Which sucks because if you guys know, like the difference in men's shirts, at least, the difference between medium and large is not all dimensions. They just give you more room around the belly, in my experience. Like they don't make the shoulders any wider, which is what I need. So
They just make it like wider in the
yeah, they just make the
abdomen
trunk
area.
of the shirt a little bigger.
See, that's annoying because then you
Which-
look like you're, if you have wide shoulders, you look like a flag walking around. 'Cause
Yeah.
You're all like
But
blowing in the wind.
I don't know. Anyway, I'll have to wear a large now in Bucky's shirt until they can get their sizing act together.
Get your stuff together, Bucky's. Also sponsor us.
Yeah. You made a Bucky's charcuterie board. Did we talk
I
about
did.
that
I don't think we did.
in the last episode? Okay.
I
Well, a
don't
couple
think
weeks
so.
ago, Jennie made a Bucky's charcuterie board.
It was literally, it just sounded like fun. I thought it'd be a good idea for pictures and TikTok and all that sorts of stuff. So I got like beef jerky. I got some cookies they typically sell there.
You made a nice spread. It looked good.
Fudge. Thank
Have you
you.
posted it yet on the Samara Instagram?
Yes.
Okay.
I
How'd it
have.
do?
It was pretty popular.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I'm still growing our Smart Instagram, so it's not as big as like say our Jennie and Davis
Sure.
Instagram or anything, but it did pretty well.
You maybe should
Yeah.
repost on Jennie and Davis, see if we can get more attention.
Oh, I mean, I'll put it on Jennie and Davis.
Then tag Samara in it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, that's about it. We are making a lot of YouTube videos this week. That's what we've mostly done. Is just trying to get the footage. Well, we've filmed them. We haven't edited them yet, but Jennie is about to leave and do her hurricane block for a couple weeks. So I have to have enough footage to make YouTube videos. So this week we have been filming everything. We've been filming like talking head to fill in the gaps in the story. We've been filming just intros and outros and just trying to get as much footage as possible so that you don't notice that Jennie's gone.
But I
so
will
we
be
can keep it
gone.
a secret. So don't tell anybody that Jennie's going to be gone, but Jennie's going to be gone.
Yep. So I'm going to go fly whatever storms start to pop up here in the near future. And
Yeah, it'll be end of September by then.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So second half of September is your block. And so that'll be fun and exciting. Hopefully nobody's home gets destroyed, but
yeah, I hope not.
we'll see. Speaking of which, my dad sold us a generator. So a couple months ago in the freeze, the Houston freeze or whatever, we recorded a podcast when we had electricity for just a little bit of time.
Yeah.
We didn't have a generator, so our fridge, all the meat spoiled and everything. Well, there's $250 worth of food at least in that freezer. So that's half the price of a little Honda generator. Anyway, so my dad sold me a Honda generator that he had that he didn't use very often. So now that's taken care of. So I'm excited.
Yep.
What else?
So if it ever snows again in Houston in the next 50 years, we'll be covered if the power goes out because we have a generator.
Well, there's a bunch of other stuff too. So
Well, there is.
I mean, between coronavirus and like all the doomsday preppers, all the people that have got like food buried in the backyard or gold buried in the backyard and food storage and everything, they were all just sitting fat and happy during COVID and the freeze.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're not going to go full tinfoil hat, but we've kept some supplies.
Yeah,
and
it would be nice to have a generator. Even like if we get bad thunderstorms and the power goes out or something for
Yeah.
a day.
that happened this morning.
Or
real
a
bad.
hurricane,
Yeah, I
Harvey
mean-
wasn't that long ago.
We do live near the coast,
Yeah.
so it's good to have a generator in the shed just in case. So would have saved us in the freeze because we could have run. Could we run? Yeah, we could. We had gas. We could have run the heater. We could have kept
Yeah.
the house warm
Mhm.
had we had the generator and an extension cord going to the.
Right. Or the fridge or, we could have alternated
fridge.
between like,
We could have done both. Charged our phones. It would have been.
Yeah,
would have been
yeah.
nice. But
it's okay.
you live and you learn.
Yep.
So, but that's basically all that we've been up to. I feel like we've been doing so much, but I feel like there's so little to talk about.
I know. It's
'Cause
just persistence. Like
Yeah.
our last podcast. We've just been grinding and doing the stuff that works over and over and over again.
Yeah.
So,
I want to talk about this really quickly. We are not an investment podcast. We do not talk about money very often, but all of the people that we listen to for financial advice, which we've said before on the show, we don't listen to financial advice from anybody who has a net worth of less than $5 million. Most of the people we listen to are at least $10 million. So
Yeah.
maybe we should up that number. But anyway, everybody right now is talking about crypto. and we have played around with it, but we listened to a podcast, and it was basically talking about all of the potential that cryptocurrency has.
It was a really good podcast.
It was just incredible. We'll link it in the show notes, but
Yeah.
it was just crazy to hear this guy's perspective. He's a macroeconomist. He watches things on the global scale. So not like small businesses and startups, but he looks at like really, really big picture stuff. He's one of the guys that like saw the 2008 crash coming. He saw the .com bubble pop. He predicted a lot of these things, and he advised a lot of the people that, you know, took part in a lot of those crashes and stuff that you've seen movies about. At least that's how he was introduced in the podcast, is their advisor at some level. So he was just talking about what crypto does and how it like changes the whole financial landscape. Anyway, this is not that type of podcast. I just wanted to encourage you to do some research on it, because it's going to shake things up.
Yeah, we were definitely left thinking for a really long time after we listened to that one.
Yeah, even if only 25% of what he says comes true, it's going to completely change the world again.
Yeah.
And if you've been watching Gary Vaynerchuk or Tom Bilyeu,
he's been saying the same thing. Well, this podcast was
Patrick
Tom Bilyeu,
Bet-David.
but-
Yeah, all of the big people are saying that this is the next big thing. And it's pretty rare that you see that many people all in on the same opportunity. I mean, when a new social media platform comes up, we see that happen all the time. Okay, you want some proof? That's where that happens. Is TikTok comes out of nowhere and everybody thinks, oh, that's just for kids. It's just stupid kid stuff. And now I forget what the TikTok latest evaluation is, but it's stupid, ridiculous high. Like, these companies are worth so much now. And anyway, crypto is the next thing everybody's focused on. So I don't know, maybe call your kids, call your grandkids, do some research. Google search.
Definitely do some research at least and get smart on it.
It's not just the currency. I mean, the currency is a big deal, but like it's a new software, I guess, is the best way to like parallel it. It's like it's going to do for the internet what Microsoft Word did for the business computer. Yeah. It's a product built on top of the internet.
Yeah.
Is basically what it is. So just like social media is a product from the internet, all the blockchain stuff is another product of the internet. I mean, like, it's been pretty crazy stuff. Like, the basic gist is that you can verify ownership of things. And everybody's got a copy of the ownership ledger that continually updates. So there's no more fraud. You can't, like, I don't know. The best case tangibly that I've seen for it is talking about like property. So when you buy a house, you got a real estate agent who negotiates. There's another real estate agent who probably negotiates for the sellers. And then when you close, you go to a title office and you sit down, and the title office makes sure that the person selling the house owns the house and the person buying the house has the money to buy the house. The title company is going to disappear.
Because you don't need that anymore.
Because that is all wrapped up in the blockchain technology and how it works. So it's pretty incredible. I'm excited. Yeah. Anyway, don't risk any more than you can lose.
Yes. They say that in the podcast too.
All of the financial things, warnings and stuff, it's interesting. Just go research it. It's interesting. It'll be interesting to see how it shakes out in the long term. So,
but yeah, links to that in the show notes if you want to go listen. It's a Tom Bilyeu podcast.
That's basically what we've been chewing on this whole week, just thinking about it and everything.
Really interesting.
Yeah. Jonathan, some woodworking stuff. Jonathan J. Katz Moses put a video up about different sanding discs. I've never been assaulted with a video. Like, so many people have reached out and said, you should see this video. You should see, because it's stuff that we talk about all the time about like efficiency and saving time. Like, and I really like the way that he organized the information, because what he sorted all of the sanding discs by how much money it costs to remove a certain weight of wood from the material.
Right.
So he ranked...
Not necessarily like how long it lasts or how, subjectively, how much can I get out of this sanding pad.
Right. What does it cost to remove a gram of material off of a piece of wood?
It's pretty like objective information. That's
right. As long as you stay on the same grit, it should be a level playing field. Anyway, and he found out that this new version of some 3M sandpaper...
it looks like a purple herringbone pattern on
a
white sanding pad.
So it's mesh. So Mirka had the patent on the sanding mesh, metal mesh sanding discs. Well, that patent expired, so now other companies are experimenting with it. And 3M found that if you remove half of the metal mesh, Like there's only half of the sanding ability on the disc that the Mirka sanding pads have, but it removes more material because it keeps it from his theory. His theory was that it keeps the heat down. And because the sanding disc doesn't get hot on the wood, it doesn't get dull as fast. And that keeps it sharper for longer, so it can remove more material. And you get better suction out of it. There's no sawdust in the way.
Yeah, that's true. If there's less mesh, there's less
heat buildup.
And less of a barrier for the sawdust to have to go through into your dust collection.
Right.
So
anyway, it was all sold out. This video is doing so well. It's only got like, I think 30 or 40,000 views by the time we watched it.
If literally everybody wants to try these new sanding pads, like 30 or 40,000 views is all it takes.
We bought a box. We were just looking at the box of 100, and we bought 100 220 discs.
220, because that's what we use most of.
Right, that's what we threw. And I thought, man, so another thing that came out of the video, even if you don't care about the new sandpaper, what I found about that video was just how fast sandpaper deteriorates.
Yeah, I mean, we're pretty
frivolous. We change the pads out pretty often.
Right. If we think that it feels dull or it's starting to feel dull, like we won't even think twice about throwing it away. It's like, hey, not worth it. We'll just buy more. Like keep the quality of the boards up.
My philosophy was adopted from Alex Steele. Alex Steele went through the whole sandpaper phase a couple of years ago, and what he found, he's like, buy the expensive stuff and use it like the cheap stuff.
Yep, because then you're not sanding twice. How many times have you sanded for twice the amount of time?
Time is way more expensive than those sanding pads, even the priciest ones. So anyway, but I just found out because he was saying, I don't remember the numbers, but he was like, you're only sanding away a fraction of the wood after 10 minutes of use. Like, I think it's like 5 times worse. It removes 5 times less material after 10 or 15 minutes of sanding on the disc. So if you're using, if you're the way I look at it, if my sander is now powered up for longer than 10 minutes on the same disc, I'm wasting time. Mm-hmm. So anyway, just my takeaway was we need to start using more of our consumables, and just forgetting about it, because we're literally wasting more money pushing on that sanding disc than we would if we just threw it out and did another one. So that's a hard habit to change, because I don't know. It's more it's harder to throw away a physical object when you think, oh, I'll just stay here another 3 seconds, because we don't realize that time is more valuable. It's easy to see the money being thrown in the trash when you throw away a sanding disc. It's hard to see your time being thrown away,
trash,
because our observation of time is subjective. You know, time flies when you're having fun. You don't notice it's passing.
Yeah.
You buy if you're focused on doing something else. So,
but all of a sudden it's 5:30 p.m. on a Sunday night, and you're like, I'm not even done sanding yet, and I have to go to work tomorrow.
Yup. So anyway, that's basically all we can stuff into that segment.
Yeah. That's been our weekly update.
To the title topic.
To the title topic.
All right, Jenny, hit him with a quote.
All right, so this week's quote is from Maya Angelou, and it says, what you're supposed to do when you don't like a thing is change it. If you can't change it, change the way you think about it. Don't complain.
Ooh, I like that.
Yes.
So, title of this episode is Quit Complaining. And it's a little bit misguided, because the goal is not to convince you to stop complaining
Altogether.
It's just we really just want to highlight the difference between wanting better and just complaining. So I'm sure you know plenty of people that you work with. They always are going to find something to complain about. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's your mom, maybe it's your coworker. They're always going to find something to complain about.
Well, you know that person when you get into work and they're like, how are you? Like, well, my car isn't working as well anymore, and it's making a rattling noise, and this car is literally the worst.
It's the Eeyores.
Yeah.
The Eeyores. Oh, bother.
And then I went to a restaurant and they got my order wrong and it tasted terribly, and that restaurant is always just so bad. You know those people where it's like you expect it out of them too.
Yeah. Another quote. The mind can only see, or the eyes can only see what the mind is prepared to comprehend.
Yeah.
If you're looking for negativity, you will find it.
You will absolutely find it.
If you're looking for positivity, you will find it.
Yep.
So whatever you decide you're looking for is what you're going to find. So I guess what we're saying is we want to encourage you to use your negative emotions in a positive way. We want you to be inspired to take action and change something without just complaining about it. Because yes, complaining does bring to light some issues that might be critical.
Right. Not all negative emotions are bad.
Right.
I mean, fear isn't necessarily bad. It's just warning you, that something you could get hurt or something could go wrong. It's what you do with those negative emotions that matters.
Right, but I mean, like, even complaining still can bring to attention, to somebody's attention, something that needs to be fixed.
Absolutely.
It's just, if you do that repeatedly, you get known as the complainer.
Right, without like fixing the problem.
And your opinion starts to get less and less valuable over time. And it's really sad because we've all worked with that guy. Nobody listens to anything that guy says. I remember, like, in the military, we would literally expect reactions out of certain people. If we had to change something or a new procedure happened or something, like, we just knew that people were going to complain. Like, it was sort of like it was a meme of our career field that, like, we always loved to complain. And that's all we did. I'm guilty of it as the next guy. Probably a little more guilty. Like, all we would do when we would hang out is just complain about work.
Yeah.
And I know you guys have been a part of those conversations.
Oh, yeah.
That's just no fun. It's not a good spot to be in. So I guess maybe if you do complain or you catch yourself complaining, just ask yourself, what am I doing to fix it? Because complaining, like, ruins your credibility. But bringing solutions when you identify a problem, that's not complaining.
That builds your credibility,
that
too.
makes you look like a rock star because you're taking responsibility. You're not just complaining about it. Anybody can complain. And believe me, plenty of people do.
Right.
Go read through some YouTube comments. But very few people are taking it on themselves to be responsible and say, hey, maybe try this instead. Or, hey, I sat down, I crunched the numbers. We can fix this problem and still stay profitable if we implement XYZ strategy.
Right.
So I guess that's what we're trying to encourage you to do, is just always make sure that you're trying to fix the problem. You're not just highlighting it.
Right.
And you might say, well, it's not my job to fix the problem. And you might be right. It might be another department's job.
But it's your responsibility to get it to that department so that it can get fixed.
Right. If you really want it fixed, you need to do a lot of the homework and collaborate with them to get it done. You don't need to just say, oh, I've identified the problem. My job is done. No. That might even be your job. But if you are being emotionally upset about this, you need to take responsibility to fix it. You can't just complain about it. But yeah, there is a difference between wanting better and complaining. I guess that's our punchline for the whole thing.
Yeah.
If you don't hear anything else, I'll say it again. There's a difference between wanting better and complaining, and they sound the same. But here's the thing. It's on you or on whoever is wanting better to communicate it that way, because they do sound the same. Like, we want to be in a commercial space. And it sounds like in a couple of our previous videos that I am complaining about our garage.
Yeah, that we complain about the shop. And the thing is, yeah, we don't like how small the shop is. And yeah, we'll say we don't like it. But in the background, we're searching for a bigger spot. We're searching for a bigger shop. We're searching for a commercial space.
But not only that, I am so thankful that we have the shop.
Right.
It's not that I'm being negative. It's just I want more.
Yeah.
Like, not in a negative, greedy way, but like, all right, let's go. We've been doing the right thing. I'm so happy that we've had this garage that has been good to us, but man, it's time to take the next step.
We want better for ourselves and our business.
Right.
It's not just because we're angry.
And a lot of people get upset by that because they think, oh, well, if you want better for yourself, does that mean that what I have isn't good enough for you? You know, like your peers will get jealous of you trying to improve yourself. That is a whole different podcast.
Oh, yeah.
But remember the crawfish analogy from a few weeks ago? Like, if you're trying to crawl out of the boiling pot of water, the crawfish are going to grab you by the tail and pull you back in. People are the same way. Somebody tries to improve their life or surround themselves with better people. All of a sudden, everybody else starts to get weird around them. So, but yeah, it's a balance. It's just like everything else. It's a balance. You got to make sure that you're communicating the right thing, that you're being grateful for what you do have. But you still got to keep your edge. You still got to grow and want more.
Right. And it's your responsibility to make sure people around you understand your intentions, to make sure they understand that you're not just complaining, to make sure they get the fact that, no, I actually want to do something about it. I'm not just a complainer. Because I think some people may have good intentions when they quote unquote complain. And they're like, well, no, people always think I'm complaining, but I really do have good intentions. It's like, well, then make that known.
But are you bringing solutions?
Right.
Right? Are you collaborating with the people that can take charge and change things? Those are the questions that usually people have trouble answering because they're not. They are just complaining. And again, like, you also got to understand at scale, people are just not going to listen to you. They are not going to get, like, you need to communicate it. You need to try and explain your intentions, but also understand some people just don't want to hear it. Like, a couple weeks ago, I think it was the Glowforge video where it like got gunked up and it quit. Like, we got a few comments, not a lot, but a few comments from people that are just like, all you guys do is ever complain. And I'm just like, what are you talking about? Like, we spent 5 minutes in this video talking about how we're so happy that the Glowforge is fixed and that, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, people see that we are trying to improve and they want to discount that by saying all they ever do is complain.
Right.
But what they don't realize is I'm not saying my knife is dull. I'm just saying it could be sharper.
And then you're doing what it takes to sharpen it. Like,
correct.
You're actively trying to sharpen it.
Right. But if you sit there and you just keep hacking away with a dull knife, like, and complaining about it, then you're not going to get anywhere.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's basically all we had. One more point. You've heard the saying, the squeaky wheel gets the grease, or the squeaky wheel gets the oil.
Yes.
I always heard oil.
I always heard grease.
Well, I like grease better, but I always heard oil.
I don't know. I feel like, I don't know. You growing up, so you grew up in the South.
But
everybody's got a Southern drawl, and nobody says oil anyways.
But you don't put
oil.
You don't put grease on a wheel.
I don't know. You might.
No, grease goes in a gearbox.
Well, I don't know.
You put oil on a wheel to stop squeaking.
I always heard grease growing up.
Anyway, yeah. So, well, I guess there's grease certs on some rollers of like some farm equipment and stuff.
Oh my gosh, getting way too technical. Grease or oil. The squeaky wheel gets lubricated. I don't like that either.
Okay, so sometimes, like, you got, so there's this saying, right? You have to continually bring a problem to someone's attention if you want it solved. But the key here is that you don't need to complain every time. Otherwise, you turn into the guy that always complains. I've been there. I've been that guy. It's no fun. You have got to change. Instead of saying, did we ever get this fixed? Or has anybody ever done it? You got to ask for progress updates. You got to say, hey, what progress have we made on this project? Or assume that they have done some work on it. Mm-hmm. You know, be kind of sneaky about it. Assume that they have been working on it and say, hey, what have you learned in your research on this new solution? They'll say, I'll be honest with you, man, I haven't looked into it. Then they feel guilty. Then they will do it in their spare time. But if you're just like, man, this still sucks. Can we get it fixed?
Yeah, like, have you guys even started on this?
Yeah, like, you got to be careful with how you ask those questions, but you need to ask for progress updates on solutions. Don't just keep complaining, because then it's just going to turn into white noise, and they're not going to listen to it. You really got to be strategic about how you ask for these updates.
Yeah. I had to do this a lot when I was putting up my application to join the reserves.
Oh my gosh.
To get our current jobs. All of the paperwork and applications I put in had to get routed through so many people. Well, they didn't have to get routed through so many people. People just chose to, like...
And nobody wanted to sign it. That was the thing.
And nobody wanted to take the responsibility of actually signing it. But anyways, so I was constantly checking for progress updates. And I'll admit, I did complain about it a lot. Not to, like, other people who needed to sign it. But, like, you know, I'd come home at the end of the day and be like, this is so ridiculous. Nobody wants to sign this. But I had to be strategic about how I asked for updates. So I couldn't just say, like... hey man, like, has the commander even looked at this thing yet? No, I'd have to say, hey, in regards to, like, you know, the letter, did you guys ever hear back from so-and-so, like, about what they wanted put in this letter? You know, you had to be specific and do a little bit of research into their job. Like, what do they need to do? What do they need to do to get this task done? And how can I, like, bring it up to them to sound like I care about what they have to do to accomplish this for me.
Yeah. And sometimes you do just need to vent and complain. We're not at all trying to say that you don't need to vent or...
Sometimes you do just need to, like, blow off steam.
Yup. So make sure you have a healthy way to do that. Make sure the person you're venting to knows you're venting. Just say, hey, I understand that the next 5 minutes, the words coming out of my mouth, I don't mean, I am just venting my frustration. And
so that you don't accidentally vent it to the wrong person.
Right, because if you bottle it up and crush it inside, like I do with most of my emotions, it comes out to bite you at the wrong time. So make sure you are, like, continually I guess that's the thing here, is you are venting, but you're venting in a healthy environment, in a healthy way, and you're using those negative emotions and leveraging them towards action so that you can fix something.
Yeah.
Or at least put it in a direction that's going to, you know, have a chip on your shoulder, but make sure that it's causing you to do the right things.
Right.
So I guess that's all we have on that. Action steps. So what do you do if you dislike something, Jenny? What do you do? What can I take to do something healthy?
Are we gonna ding?
We are gonna ding.
Okay.
Ready?
Go. Okay, so you need to write out 3 things: what you're grateful for, what you What?
What you want more of?
What?
Or what you wish was
I thought you
different?
wrote more up there twice. I was like, what you want more? I guess that is technically more. Okay, what you're grateful for, what you want, like what you want more of, or what you wish would, happen or be different, and then how it will benefit yourself and others if you change it. So you're first off saying like what you're grateful for before you even get into like what you want or even start complaining marginally about anything. Say, hey, I know I have a problem, but I'm at least grateful that I have X.
This issue. Yeah.
So like, for example, our commercial space. Before I even start complaining about how small my shop is, I'm going to say I am thankful that I even have a garage to build my business.
I'm thankful that I have enough money that I can consider expanding beyond the garage.
Correct. Stuff like that. Write down what you're grateful for and then say what you want more of or you wish it was different. However, I wish that I had more room in my shop. I wish I had a commercial space.
And be specific, because sometimes you want something that isn't actually the solution to your problem.
Yeah.
So for us, it's not like we don't need more storage space. I mean, that's really what it is. The thing that makes me complain the most is storage space, but I don't need storage space. I need floor space.
Right, working space.
Right. It's an important nuance, but make sure you nail down the correct problem. Otherwise, you'll find a solution that doesn't work.
Right, or you waste your time finding a solution to a problem that wasn't actually the problem you had.
Right. So write out specifically what you want more of or what you wish was different, and then the third thing is explain how this is going to benefit not only yourself, but other people as well. If this is a net positive thing, there was a lot of times that in my old job in missiles, we used to complain about things that the friction in the job was there for safety reasons. Like we complain. There were it's nuclear weapons. We had to check things 4, 5, and 6 times, and we all hated it because everybody did it right the first time, but the additional checks were just there to make sure that nobody dies or nobody gets hurt or something crazy doesn't happen.
Yeah, a once-off crazy happenstance.
Complacency and a whole bunch of other issues are another topic, but the rules were basically there for really just safety. And so we were trying to eliminate a tension that needed to be there. Again, that's a whole other topic. It's an Andy Stanley thing. Sometimes there are tensions that don't need to be resolved. Okay, so in a shop environment, there's the safety inspector. If the safety inspector had his way, there would be no production of anything in that warehouse.
Yeah.
If the clipboard warrior said everything you do is unsafe, stop doing things that are unsafe. And then on the other end, there's the shop foreman or the guy in charge of production. He doesn't want anything to be done safely. He wants it to be done as fast as possible.
Yeah.
Both people should not get their way. They should constantly be in a healthy and productive and mature disagreement with each other.
Yeah.
The safety guy should always be trying to make everything safer. The production guy should always be trying to make things more efficient. And as long as there's a healthy balance and a good tension there, we get a lot of stuff done with minimizing our safety risks. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
They talk about this in the Air Force all the time. The 4-star general not too long ago was saying, like, you'll never hear me say safety first, because if safety was first, we'd never go to work in the morning.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean by there's a good tension to manage. So sometimes when you're complaining about something or you want something to be better, you need to take a step back and realize that maybe it's already better. Maybe this is the best way it can happen. There's a lot of time in missiles we changed things that did not need to be changed, and it flip-flopped. They kept changing it back and forth because they realized there were just two different ways of doing it.
And it didn't matter. It really didn't matter which one you chose.
Nope, not at all. So anyway, just some helpful thoughts there when talking about complaining and everything. Oh, last thing. So action steps. If you do the 3 things, if you write out what you're grateful for, if you write out what you wish was different, and you write how it will benefit others and how you want to change it, where we have seen this work in our own subjective experience is YouTube comments. When somebody watches our videos and they dislike something about how we do, or something like, even other content creators, when they're giving you feedback, they are already doing this. But the comments that we listen to the most are the ones that say, hey, I love your videos, it's great, but I wish you guys would show more building content because, number 3, I think that's what everybody else is excited to see. Those are the comments that we listen to. So just take that and understand that, like, if you do those 3 things, the people you were trying to collaborate with will be way more on board to helping you out than if you were just to say, I hated this video, there was no building. It's like, okay, all right, you're just throwing rocks, I'm not going to listen to you.
Right.
So anyway, that's basically all I wanted to say on that. Do you got anything else to add?
I don't think so. I think that's it.
Okay.
Complain with a purpose.
Complain with a purpose. With a porpoise.
If you happen to have a porpoise around, you can complain with them. Maybe let them vent to you every once in a while. They may have some struggles we really just don't know about.
Oh, I saw, speaking of a porpoise venting, I saw this TikTok the other day. It was like this girlfriend with her boyfriend, and she was like, what sound does a dog make? And the boyfriend's like, woof. And she's like, what sound does a cat make? And he goes, meow. And then she like takes a sip from a bottle of water. She goes, what sound does a whale make? And he was like, oh, I don't know. And as he's saying, I don't know, she just like spits the water
all over his face.
Because that sounds like a whale. You know what they're blowing?
Yeah.
Anyway, you saying letting a porpoise blow off steam made me think of that.
Oh my God.
Anyway.
Next time I'm frustrated or want to complain, I'll just spit water in your face.
Perfect.
In summary, that's what this podcast is actually about.
All right, y'all. Have a good one.